Is there such a thing as being a good homemaker? For me, weekends tend to be my saving grace these days to set up my weeks for ease. I work outside of my home, I have a husband, 2 kids, and a dog, and life can get pretty crazy sometimes. I feel like my brain is so wired for productivity that I need to actively slow down when I'm doing simple tasks. For me, homemaking is something that has taken me years to settle into. Because of that, I've noticed rhythms that have naturally developed over the last 5 years that work really well for me. So here are a few of my favorite homemaking rhythms that I do every weekend as a working mom of 2. So we have tidy up time, and I encourage my kids and my husband to join me as often as I can as we all work to tidy up. Most of the time, our home can be tidied up within about 15 minutes. Unlike what you see in this video, we have been out of town on a trip and needed a more in-depth clean. But typically, if I'm lacking motivation, I always think of these 3 things: beating the clock, 2-minute tasks, and 1-touch rules. When it comes to beating the clock, I'm utilizing timers, and they are my go-to when I feel unmotivated to do a quick tidy or a cleanup. Being the competitive person that I am, putting myself against the clock is an instant motivator. Also, putting myself on time trials of cleaning has helped me understand that the majority of my tasks take me less than 2 minutes to complete, which leads me into my next tip. I call them 2-minute tasks. These are the tasks that have been developed into habits for me, like emptying the dish rack, switching the laundry, wiping down sinks, putting shoes, jackets, and hats away. It's knowing which tasks can be done in 2 minutes or less, which gives me the reminder that I can take the 2 minutes in the moment to complete that task loop versus pushing it off for later me, because present me wants future me to have time to relax. And my last rule when it comes to cleaning is 1-touch rules. This is the principle where you can put something away with 1 touch. So instead of dropping everything all over the place when you come home, try taking off your shoes next to your shoe rack or putting them away with 1 touch. Same goes for hats, keys, jackets, purses. You get it. So then my second rhythm that I've noticed is we have making for the week. There are a few rhythms we have settled into when it comes to feeding our family. I've been making sourdough bread weekly, bi-weekly, ever since 2021, and I don't anticipate stopping. It is just a habit now and has saved us so much money on bread, not to mention the health benefits of sourdough being a fermented food and better for blood sugar regulation, and not to mention it's so tasty and just absolutely wonderful. I have a blog post all about the non-fussy way to start sourdough if you'd like to check that out. I'll leave it in the description. Then in our makings for the week, we always make a source of protein on Saturday or Sunday that I can use for lunches and that can be served for dinners early in the week. This has been so nice to have as I'm not scrambling for lunch or dinner on Mondays. Most of the time we already have dinner ready for Monday, and pretty much all we need to do is simply reheat it. I'm not big on eating out, so being proactive and setting up meals beforehand has been huge. It's not that I'm coming home and having to dive into dinner or trying to figure out what we're going to eat. My husband is able to help me out since he works from home and has a more flexible schedule. He has been instrumental in us being able to eat as a family every night together. My third rhythm that I've noticed is utilizing nap times to be creative. Both my kids nap at the same time, so utilizing nap times to do something that is creative has been a rhythm I adapted when I started my blog back in 2022. I don't do housework when my kids are napping. I found that I truly believe my kids need to see me taking care of our home, and so any chore that needs to get done is done while my children are there to witness it. So dishes, vacuuming, tidying up toys. My kids see me doing this and are encouraged to help me in the process. I've also gotten in the habit of picking up as I go and not leaving any room empty-handed. So I'm taking things that need to be taken from one room to the next throughout my day. The sooner you realize that a magical house cleaning fairy is not going to come and clean for you, you might as well get in the habit of putting stuff away as you use it, to decrease the feelings of anxiety and overwhelm that you are unable to take care of your home. You are capable of it. You just might need to change a few of your habits and adjust things that aren't working for you. I have two bonus tips, two bonus rhythms, I guess you could say, that have helped my journey of homemaking. First is understanding how you use your home. This may be different, but if you think of your most optimized and organized home, you can get what is the one thing that you can do today to get it to that point. I'm so big into understanding how you use your home and is it functioning for you, and then allowing yourself the grace to make small tweaks that can make your life easier over time. The second one is not really a rhythm, but I just am highly encouraged to all of you, what is owning less. I recently dove into the deep end of decluttering, minimal living, and I feel like if you have watched my channel all, you will see that I'm a huge believer in decluttering and trying to only own the things that are serving and adding value to you and your family. If you have littles like me, then you know you're spread pretty thin. And if you're working outside of the home like me, you know that you're spread even thinner. I've made the decision that this is the year that we're going to minimize our home. We will be moving into a camper this summer and eventually into a 600 square foot home. So at some point, there's not going to be a whole lot of extra space. I know working on minimizing now will help us in the future. So moving and unpacking won't be as overwhelming. And everyone in my family will be able to help with that process. Alright, so this is my homemaking rhythm as a working mom. If you're craving changes in your life, I believe that you always need to make those small changes that compound over time. If we haven't met before, I'm Katelyn. I love creating with intention as I share about creating a home, decluttering your life, and savoring your days. I've always been someone who craves a creative outlet, and this is one of my favorite ways to connect with you and share about my life, as well as being a wife, mom, and creative. If you are all curious about my decluttering journey, you'll watch this video next as I share my process of how I'm minimizing my home before we move into a camper. I'll see you there.